the show. Let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know. Now it's show time.
The movie Melania is a giant grift, and we're going to tell you why. Also, a shocking revelation from the Grammys last night. We're going to talk about that and so much more on today's show. Don't go anywhere. It is the Karel Show. I am Karel, so very glad you are joining me. A lot of you shocked that I'm starting on time, but here I am. Well, have you heard the news? First of all, let's talk about a lot of entertainment today. Not that Trump isn't endlessly entertaining, but let's talk about Melania. It sold about 8 tickets in Europe, sold $8 million worth here in the United States, better than the 2 to 4 million they had predicted, has an 11% from the critics on the tomato meter, which everybody hates it. The jokes were hysterical. If Abraham Lincoln went to see it, he'd say it was the worst night of theater he ever had. If they showed it on a plane, they would still get up and walk out of the theater. I mean, it was, the reviews were brutal. It is propaganda, but more importantly, like everything the Trump family does, it's a grift. And let me tell you what I mean. The budget of the film was $40 million. It's the most expensive documentary ever made. Now, it is the highest grossing documentary at the theater for an opening weekend of all time. That's mainly because most documentaries don't ever get released at the theater. So that number is whatever you want. It was beaten by a horror movie, an independent horror movie from a YouTuber, and then Sam Raimi's new movie, which I really want to see, called Send Help. So they made 40 million. She made 8. But let me tell you why this is an enormous grift. Everybody, all of my Karelians, or Karellers, they're calling themselves Karellers, like carolers, but Karellers, in the chat room at youtube.com/Really Karel, or under the video in the comments, or at patreon.com/Really Karel, where I have the best patrons in the world. Let me tell you why it's a giant grift. It has been revealed that for her participation in a documentary, by the way, just so you know, subjects of documentaries are very seldomly paid. Okay? When you see a documentary, the person in the documentary is seldomly paid to be in the documentary, because documentaries are supposed to be news pieces, and you don't pay people to cover the news. So proving that this was a big piece of fluff. How much do you suppose out of the 40 million was paid to Melania to make her be in the documentary? Take a guess. Somebody in the chat room. James Schnabel in the Siberian Peninsula? Really? My goodness. Maybe he's just joking because it's cold. How much? How much do you think Melania Trump made off of this movie, Melania? Anybody? 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 Well, I'll tell you. She made $28 million. 70% of the production budget of $40 million, according to Variety, 70% was given to Melania. So this was all just a big bribe by Jeff Bezos, paid to Trump's wife, to get in favor with Donald Trump. It's a giant grift. That's all the movie is. It is a big piece of propaganda crap that is a giant grift. So Trump could get $28 million legally from Jeff Bezos. And they did it in terms of a production budget. I repeat, I am in entertainment. No documentary subject is ever paid 70% of the production budget. It's a grift. Now, for that price, you would have thought she could give a cat like a Meryl Streep performance. That's more than Meryl makes in some movies. So you would have thought that the movie could have been great. I mean, being paid that much. Instead, even the trailer is enough to make you want to impale yourself. The Devil Wears Prada 2 trailer is more entertaining than the entire Melania movie. So it's a giant grift. It is just another way that Jeff Bezos and others are paying off Donald Trump. And they did it by giving Brett Ratner, a sexual offender in the Epstein files, $40 million, of which he gave Melania 70%, or $28 million, just to participate. That's a bribe.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
Now, I know that I talk to the entire world, according to the stats, and some of you may be reading about the polar plunge that the Midwest and South are going through. I would just like to say here in Nevada, in Las Vegas right now, it's 65 degrees, going to be 72 today. Our low last night was 43. And this is one of the reasons you live in Las Vegas. This is the only reason that you would live here. All right. Have you heard the news? By the way, I'm going to show an adult image. Have you heard the news? Women have breast. Oh my God. Social media has their titties in a twist this morning over Chappell Roan's outfit at the Grammys. Music biggest night last night was last night. And the red carpet did not, fail to provide entertainment. And Chappell Roan, Pink Pony Club. Chappell Roan was there. She's a very queer-friendly artist. And she wore a dress that was basically dangling from what would be her nipples. Now I'm going to show you an image. This is an adult image for those of you, out there. But here is an image. And what I'm going to show you, here we go. So on the left, in 1998, for a Paris fashion show, Terry Mugler, the designer, designed that dress. And there you see the model, who has a real nipple and a real nipple ring, is wearing the exact style dress that Chappell Roan wore. That is Chappell Roan on the right. Now let me tell you the differences. On the left, that is her nipple. Those are her breasts. And Europe didn't bat an eye. Not an eye. No one cared. On the right is Chappell Roan. Those are not her breast that you are seeing. What you are seeing is a latex overlay of both of her breasts. And the piercing holding up the dress goes through the latex, not her nipples. Her nipples are not exposed. They are covered in latex. So the breast that you see there in my photo of Chappell Roan, and for those of you listening to the audio, you can go to the video at youtube.com/RillyKarel. What you're seeing is Chappell Roan with latex painted onto her breast, and then the end of it molded into a nipple shape, which they then put the rings through to hold up the dress. It is not her bare breast. Her breasts are covered in flesh-colored latex. On the left in this image, you see the original inspiration for the dress. And that was from a fashion show of 1998, 28 years ago. Terry Mugler debuted this dress, and nobody batted an eye. But Chappell Roan wore it to Grammy, and MAGA and the right have lost their frickin' minds. Okay? They have lost their minds. Now, a couple things. Women have been wearing nude dresses on red carpets forever. Whether you agree with them or disagree with them, I want to see men in nude tuxedos. That's what I want to see. I've always said the red carpet was very sexist. Women are expected to wear practically nothing. Men are expected to be covered from neck to ankle. I don't like that. And I love it when a guy shows up with no shirt or some outfit that shows his body. I love that. Because it's fair play. That's what I consider it as. Now remember, I'm a voting member of NARIS for 30 years, and I went to my first Grammy Awards in the 80s. So we are talking, 40 years ago that I went to my first Grammy Awards. So I'm a Grammy expert. How was last night's show, Karel? Well, I'm getting older, and it shows when I watch the awards. For instance, all of the Best New Artist nominees, I didn't know any of them. Now that I've discovered them, I think some of them are great. I mean, really great. Olivia Dean is great. That Somber is great. That Lola, she's wonderful. So they're great. A couple of them are, meh. The girl groups, I just, having to be naked and do backflips. It's like, are we at a strip club? Are they pole dancing? What's going on? But pop music has always had that. Sabrina Carpenter, bringing a live dove on stage. What was the point of that, Sabrina? Just to be cruel to the dove? So that was dumb. Performance-wise, pretty lackluster. Bruno Mars was Bruno Mars. He's a good performer. The tribute at the end to Roberta Flack and others who passed away, both Reba McEntire, who has a gorgeous voice, and then Lauryn Hill, who hasn't performed at the Grammys in 24 years, Shaka, who obviously found the Ozempic, and a whole lot of other artists came out to pay tribute to Roberta Flack and to Lolita Hathaway, a lot of others. And it speaks volumes that one of the best performances of the night were by artists that are older, established artists. Gaga was Gaga. She gave you avant-garde costume, incredible vocals, and a new arrangement of Abracadabra, which had just won Best Dance Song during the pre-awards. We give out 80 Grammys. They only give out 10 on the show, 10 to 12. A majority are given in the pre-telecast, which starts at noon and goes right up until 5 o'clock, until the awards start. So performance-wise, kind of lackluster. There wasn't, Justin Bieber in his underwear. That man needs therapy. Everyone's saying what a moment it was and how spectacular it was. I was like, this guy needs help. He really does. He complains about paparazzi following him everywhere, and then he shows up on the Grammy stage basically in underwear. It's like, okay, your kid's going to watch this one day and wonder, Dad, why were you in your underwear? He has a great voice, Justin Bieber, and he's cute as hell. But, your underwear? Now, I don't know why there is all this hoopla over Chappell Roan's breast. First of all, the male audience adored it. Lesbians adored it. Gay men, we knew they weren't real nipple rings because that would hurt. Nipples are I've had nipple rings, and your nipples are very sensitive when you have them. But think about how far we have come. Remember the trouble that Janet Jackson got into for showing her left breast with a piercing, the solar sun? Oh my God, there were congressional hearings and fines were paid and everything. Meanwhile, Chappell Roan is strutting down the red carpet, tits to the wind. God bless her. She covered her nipples. That's the law. Women cannot be in public if their nipples are showing. They can show everything else because we're prudes, by the way. We have centered a culture on sex, and we have, but heaven forbid we should show it. So, and by the way, Connor Story and Francois Arnaud, 25 and 40, respectively, they've been seen at 3 parties together, including an after Grammy party. I think they're dating, and that would make me so happy. They're both on the show. I know we all want him to date Shane, but Shane Hudson is straight. But I think Francois and Connor are dating. They were out at Paris together at a couple parties. Then they're over here together at a couple parties. I think they're dating. That would be wonderful. So any surprises? No. Cher read Luther Vandross. The name of the album that won was Kendrick Lamar, Luther. And Cher in a time warp said Luther Vandross. But they use a Luther Vandross sample on the album that's called Luther, and it was a nice moment where they then all talked about Luther Vandross. Trevor Noah, it's his last year hosting because the Grammys are leaving CBS after 54 years, and I fully believe it's because of the new ownership. because they see the Grammys as woke. And so the Grammys are moving to ABC, Disney, Hulu. And that's next year, after 54 years on the same network. Network got sold, Grammys are leaving. Trevor's not going to be the host. I don't know why. But he made a joke last night about Kendrick Lamar wants the Record of the Year Grammy more than Trump wants Greenland, because after all, he needs a new island since Epstein's island is out of the picture now, and he needs a new island to go to with Bill Clinton. So this morning, Donald Trump has threatened to sue Trevor Noah, which he can't. Well, he can, but the judge will throw it out because he didn't defame him. And you know who hasn't said anything about it? Bill Clinton. That's who. And, you know, that segues into should be one of the biggest stories of our time, which is the Epstein files. At any other time in our history, if a seated president was mentioned as many times, look, how many allegations against him can be false? There's a statement in there from a 13-year-old girl that he raped her. There's another sworn affidavit in there that he made this other girl watch him get oral sex from an underage girl. How many allegations against him does there have to be before MAGA and others will go, you know, maybe, just maybe, some of these are true? How many? How many times you know, my name's not mentioned in there once. Your name, Elon Musk, is. Almost every straight, powerful, rich, white man is mentioned in the Epstein files. Diddy is sitting in jail for doing less than what these men did in the Epstein files. Andrew Mountbatten, former Prince Andrew, should probably be in jail for what he did. Minimally, he should come to the U.S. and testify. This story should be and Trump should be forced to step down just from the Epstein files. And meanwhile, they're so busy redacting the names of the rich men, they forgot to redact naked photos. The New York Times found hundreds of naked photos of victims. And once they notified the Justice Department, then the Justice Department took them down, but the damage is already done. People already downloaded them. It should be the biggest presidential scandal of the last 100 years. Bill Clinton got impeached for coming on a dress of a girl in her 20s. Okay? Got impeached for having oral sex in the Oval Office with a willing participant who was 25 or 26 years old at the time. Donald Trump has multiple allegations of rape and sexual assault against him. He has been convicted of sexual assault in civil court. He has been convicted of 32 other felonies. And yet everybody is saying he's in the Epstein files as a willing participant. His face has been redacted from the photos, but they left naked girls. And when a Democratic administration takes over, I want unredacted photos, and I want every white man in them, whether they're Democrats or Republican, to go to jail. And if that means my favorite Bill Clinton, then that's what that means. If he did what the others did, then take him to jail. And I don't know why Trump gets to skate from this. I do not know. I don't know why he's not in jail. He should be having done to him in jail by big burly men what he did to the women. That's what should be happening right now. He shouldn't be at the White House talking about booty size with Nicki Minaj. He should be on cell block H giving up his booty. Okay? With his cankles. So I don't know why MAGA, and what about all the churches? You know, last night, Jelly Roll, a MAGA supporter, even though he tried to run from it backstage because it wasn't popular, because Bad Bunny was the star of the night, got a standing ovation when he walked out and first thing said, "Ice out." The entire auditorium, 20 plus thousand people, sprang to their feet in a spontaneous standing ovation to agree that ICE must go. ICE out. So why, I don't get it. Jelly Roll preaching the gospel up there. Jesus is the way. Jesus. How can he say he loves Jesus if he loves Donald Trump? How can evangelicals still be behind him? Because they never were about their morals. Christians are not about their morals. They're about power. And evangelicals care more that he is doing Project 2025, which he is, than they do the fact that he's an alleged racist. Which means Christians have no morals. At least not evangelicals that support Trump. You can't be a Christian and support Donald Trump.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
So the Melania movie is a big grift. It's a way for Jeff Bezos to funnel $28 million to Donald Trump through Melania, because that's what she got to be in her own documentary. Unheard of. You don't pay people to be in documentaries. So that's unheard of. Then we had Donald Trump threatening to sue Trevor Noah over a joke at the Grammys. Meanwhile, while Donald Trump tries to divert attention, now he's closing the Kennedy Center, which he can't do without Congress, but he is. And he's saying he's going to redecorate it so it'll look like a fucking brothel. And they're really closing it because everybody canceled. Kid Rock can only do so many performances. Everybody canceled. No one wants to perform at it. So he's closing it. He's being a giant baby, and he's closing it because after they renamed it in his honor, everybody canceled. So he's like, well, then we're going to close it for renovations. Yep. We're going to close it for renovations. Someone in the chat room said evangelicals are in Trump's corner because there is no electoral alternative for them. Well, if your only alternative is a rapist, pedophile, felon, then you're not an evangelical. Stop it. Stop pretending people that support Donald Trump love their Lord. Stop that. They do not. In fact, Christ is going to send them all to hell for supporting Donald Trump. If you are a Christian and you support Trump, you are going to hell. And that's that. And I'll quote you a lot of scripture that'll guarantee that you're going. So, stop acting like, oh, well, Christians are supporting him because they have alternatives. Yes, they do. Vote for the person that's not fucking underage people. Allegedly. Vote for the person that is not ripping families apart, that has not ordered the murder of American citizens, that has not committed murder on Venezuelans on boats. Premeditated murder. Stop voting for the guy that supports Gazan genocide. None of that is Christian. None of it. So spare me the indignation that, oh, well, they vote for him because they have an alternative. Yes, they do. Don't vote. If you love your Lord so much, why are you voting for the Antichrist? God will not forgive you. There are some sins that are, what do Catholics call them, mortal sins, where they're not forgiven. Suicide is a mortal sin. Trump and supporting Trump is a mortal sin because he is literally the devil incarnate. He really is. Congress needs to rein him in and the courts need to prosecute this man. It's not that he's Donald Trump. I don't care who it is. If this were Obama, if this were Biden, if this were anybody, I'd be saying the exact same thing. It's not about him being Trump. I don't dislike Donald Trump. I dislike what Donald Trump has done, making him a dislikable person. The man committed felonies. The man has said things that are just beyond the pale. And the man has instituted policies that literally have made people die. That's what I have a problem with. And I would have that problem if there was a Democrat behind his name and not Republican. I would have that problem with any seated president behaving the way that he has behaved and having the criminal past that he has. It is not about hating him or hating MAGA or hating their idea. No. They could have put anyone as president. MAGA. They didn't have to choose Trump. They chose him because they are racist, because they are bigots, homophobe, transphobe. I blew someone's mind the other day. If you're a man, you're transgendered. Period. Every man listening to my voice is a transgendered man. Every single man. And I know y'all are like, what? What? All fetuses start off female. Period. End of story. All fetuses, human, start off female. They then develop into male. So every human started life as a female. Men then developed in the womb into male. They transitioned in the womb. Every man is transgendered. Every single man. Because every single man started out female. Period. So I don't understand how they're so upset at the trans community, MAGA, when every one of those Proud Boys is transgendered. Every single one. Because they all started out female. But since they know nothing about science, they know nothing about anything, they don't get it. They don't get it. And so that's who MAGA is. They're not Christian. So when I saw Jelly Roll up there, the Lord saved me when I was in jail. All I had was a Bible and a radio and Jesus Christ spoke to me. Yeah, well, you were getting it up the rump. Ick. He's such an ick. I do not like him. He's an ick. And now he's all, I'm just a dumb redneck. What do I know about politics? Well, you voted for Trump. You voted for Trump. Yep, you voted for Trump. All right. Well, we've got a lot more to do. Later in the show, I'm going to show you, gay bars are disappearing. They're disappearing. And I was asked to do a 6-minute and 30-second video to a mix of one of my songs, I Dance Because. And, I don't have a huge budget and videos don't make money. So yesterday, while Grammys were going on all day, I went through a huge process. I took 10 cities. I had ChatGPT research the top 5 LGBTQ bars in those cities in the 80s and 90s. I then went and found 50 photos of those bars, fed those into ChatGPT one by one, and had it recreate them, and then made a video wall to pay homage to those bars. I'm going to show you that video later on. But when we come back, more on Melania's flop, the Grift, Kennedy Center. Oh, the shutdown. We shut down, did you know? Government be shut down, honey. Partially.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. listening to the Karel Cast, driving you home or driving you crazy.
Now it's your time.
So I'm looking it up. For the first 5 to 6 weeks of gestation, human embryos are in an undifferentiated bipotential state, meaning we're all bi, meaning they possess the same one anatomical structures that are physically similar or phenotypically female, regardless of their genetic sex, XX or XY. Early in development, the embryo does not have distinct male or female gonads. The primordial genitalia are the same for all embryos. While the physical appearance is the same, the genetic sex is determined at fertilization by the presence of X or XY chromosomes. At 6 to 7 weeks, if a Y chromosome is present, the SRY gene activates, causing the gonads to develop into testes. If no Y chromosome is present, the gonads develop into ovaries. The development of male characteristics require the production of testosterone and other hormones from the newly formed testes. Because the default or uninstructed path is for the genitalia to develop into female form, and the Y chromosome is required to deviate from this path, it is biologically accurate to say that all human embryos start out with a female typical or indifferent appearance. In other words, all men are trans. Period. That's that. They start out as women or actually asexual. So, I don't know why they hate all the letters, because they start out asexual and trans. Then they become a man. All right, so as you know, there's a partial government shutdown, which is good because, but the Democrats are going to cave. How do you know, Karel? Because I know the Democrats. They'll cave. They're not going to hold out for DHS funding. And, a Democrat made a great point. The DHS is funded for 6 years from the big, beautiful bill. So even if they withhold this DHS funding, it still has enough to continue putting ICE on the streets. It's funded for 6 years. The only thing Democrats need to do right now is abolish ICE. Get rid of it. It was started along with they should get rid of the Department of Homeland Security. That was started after 9/11 by George W. Bush. It has not been around that long. It hasn't served us well. It is time for it to go. We have the FBI, the CIA. We have Customs and Border Enforcement. We do not need ICE. We do not need the DHS. It's just a big... When I first heard about the Department of Homeland Security, I said it sounds like Nazi Germany. Department of Homeland Security. Oh, fatherland, fatherland. So I'm like, this sounds like Nazi Germany, children. And that's exactly what DHS... Look, they just ran a story today that said the DHS and White House have released many social media posts using neo-Nazi symbols and songs, white supremacist songs, to try to get recruitments into ICE. Let's stop pretending that these aren't the New Age Nazis. Okay, let's just stop that. They're using their imagery. They're using their playbook. Historically, I can make the argument that MAGA is the New Age Nazi party. Period. They're not ashamed of it. They're using their slogans. They're using their recruitment campaigns. And they're trying to govern like the Nazis. Trump is behaving like Hitler. Now, for those of you that say he ain't, what did Hitler do that Trump hasn't? Trump has set up concentration camps. Trump is ripping citizens off the street, 70% of whom are not felons, are not even immigrants, and throwing them into concentration camps. He is punishing his enemies both politically and entertainment. The White House rejoiced in the arrest of Don Lemon, a journalist, which spits on the Constitution, the only document that he is supposed to protect and enforce. So let's just stop acting like they're not the neo-Nazi party of the new generation. They are. And they don't run from it. I don't think they'd be mad at me calling them that. They use their imagery. They use their songs. They recruit the people that are neo-Nazis. So I don't understand why they would be upset at me saying that MAGA is the new neo-Nazi party. It is. It is. And the comparisons are there. The historical precedent.
If you're not visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast videos and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
Fly, Robin, fly. This show is flying by. It's flying by, child. Yeah, it really is. So, I mean, I could talk all day about the Grammys because you know me. I just, I don't know. Is it me? Am I old? Am I old? Because I watched them thinking, where's the performers that are like Streisand? I listen to music a lot. And this morning I was listening to 60s movies soundtracks. And God, there were so many great songs in movies in the 60s. I mean, songs that are still here today that were just incredible. Just beyond belief. There truly are. And the 70s. Oh, the 70s, my God. I was in heaven in the 70s. We had Star Wars. We had, A Star is Born. We had just everything. We had so many fabulous movie themes. Jaws. We had so many fabulous movie themes in the 70s. And then I listened the other day to the 80s movies themes. And God, that was great. A lot of dance music, a lot of electronic, a lot of Phil Collins-y type stuff, but really good. Do you know the worst decades for movie music? 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. It sucks. It sucks so bad that this year's Academy Awards are cutting 3 of the 5 nominated songs, and Diane Warren is furious about it. So movie soundtracks were great in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. From then on, they suck. Oh, the 90s was all rock, like Creed and Lifehouse and Nickelback and bleh, whiny white guys with guitars. Ick. But the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the best movie music around. The best. And I thought to myself, that's not age. That's just a fact. The best movie music they have to offer in this decade is K-pop Demon Hunters. Bleh. Not Mrs. Robinson. Bridge Over Troubled Water. Classics. Love Story. Where do I begin? Born Free. Born Free. You light up my life. You light up my life. I mean, there's just so many great songs. And the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, bleh. So watching the Grammys, I was like, on Grammy stages, I've seen Streisand walk out with Neil Diamond unannounced and sing, "You Don't Bring Me Flowers, Bring the House Down." I saw Madonna. I was there when Madonna opened with the Gorillaz, a group that's actually holograms. And there they were on stage, Madonna and the Gorillaz. It was fucking incredible. That same show, Mary J. Blige came out and sang One with U2. If you haven't heard Mary J. Blige sing One with U2, Jesus God, it didn't get any better than that. I mean, I've been at the Grammys. I was there when Adele, debuted and came out and just blew the roof off the fucking place. Where Prince shut the house down. I've been there several times where Michael Jackson left everybody speechless. Or Janet. I've been there many times over the last 40 years and seen some of the greatest musical performances ever. Last night we got Justin Bieber in his underwear. That's what we got. We got, the best new artist looking like they should be pole dancing. And it's because of social media. Last night, they announced how many streams the music had. Who the fuck cares? Here's what Grammy, and I'm in Grammy, but here's what they don't get about social media. A, it doesn't sell records. In fact, it takes away from record sales, first of all. A few artists get lucky and make money on social media, TikTok, whatever. Most don't. Number two, it does not equate to ticket sales, social media and streams. And number three, those people are not loyal fans. They have attention spans of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. They're not going to be around in 5 years still liking that artist. In 10 years, people will be like, Sabrina Carpenter, who? You know? She's no Taylor Swift. And where was Taylor? Not at the Grammys. Where was Adele? Not at the Grammys. Streisand? Not at the Grammys. Diana Ross? Not at the Grammys. You know, so I watched the performances last night and just thought, is it me? Am I old or are they just ick? And the answer was, they were just ick. There was the Best New Artist segment had some real talent in it, and that was great. But the rest of the show, I'm like, this is the best you can do? Like Bruno Mars doing what he does here in Vegas? And who else? Justin Bieber in his underwear, and who else? Who else performed? I don't even know. The big tribute thing was fun to the people who have passed. But other than that, I'm like, where are the stars? None of these people are stars. Like, stars. They're disposable. You know? Adele, a star. Emily Sandé, a star. Anastasia, a star. I can name a bunch of contemporary artists that are stars. Many were not there last night. Somber, I'm not sure if he's a star. He's very skinny. I did like his mirror ball outfit. That was cute. Lola, the woman at the piano, she's got a great voice. Her father is a jazz legend. And what's her name? Not Andra Day. African-American. She won Best New Artist. She's giving Diana Ross vibes with her hair. But other than that, kind of like yawn. You know? Kind of like, okay. And now every song is 3 minutes or less. Like 3 minutes or less. Get in, get out. 3 minutes or less. That's why the video that I'm going to show you in the next segment, which is 6 minutes long, it's to a dance remix for the clubs. And I didn't really worry about the video because when you're in a club, you don't really watch the video. So he just needed something extended out, the label. And I didn't have any money to pay an editor, so I did it myself. Luckily, I had a performance video to be able to use the footage from, and I had AI create some more footage, and then I did all these photos of the gay bars. And it made me sentimental because gay bars are disappearing. And we live in a time where the gay community is under attack. Nicki Minaj called Trevor Noah gay because of his joke about her last night. So Nicki Minaj, the ignorant slut that she is, Jane, you ignorant slut. Nicki, you ignorant slut. And if you don't know that reference, grow up. It's from Saturday Night Live. Nicki, you ignorant slut. You know, she's back to thinking calling someone gay is a derogatory term because it appears to be again. You know, it appears like calling someone gay is now a slam. She called Don Lemon a cocksucker on social media because allegedly that's a slam. I'm a cocksucker and a damn good one. If you have ever had your dick sucked by me, you know your dick has been sucked. You'll be very happy with the outcome. So I don't see it as an insult. I see it as an occupation. But whatever, or a talent, not an occupation. I guess it could be. But it's a talent, really. If you're a good dick sucker, that's a talent. So calling Don Lemon one, it's like, well, I'm sure his husband's happy if if he's a good one. So gays are under attack, and gay bars are closing at record numbers. Their rents are soaring out of control. Young gays are not really going to the clubs, and old gays, they're not making the clubs comfortable for the older demographic to go. They're too loud. They start too late in the evening. So gay bars are disappearing. Some of the best friends I've ever had in my life, including my husband, came out of gay bars. Some of the most wonderful people I've ever met, and some of the best entertainment I have ever seen, from Sylvester to incredible drag queens like Coco Peru or Miss Lady Bunny, just on down the line to dance artists like Cece Peniston, Grace Jones. I've seen so many fabulous people at gay bars performing. Ellen DeGeneres when she first started. So they're leaving. So when I was asked to extend this video out, I needed a couple minutes, which doesn't sound like much, but it is, a couple minutes of extra footage. And I don't have the money to go create it or film it or whatever. So I thought, you know what? You wrote this song as an homage to friends past, but you met those friends in gay bars. And a lot of those gay bars are now past. They're gone. So I went through and found 50 of the top gay bars in the world, and I had ChatGPT create new images of them. And I made a video wall, and that's in the video. And I'm going to have you watch it. See if you can, see if any of you, remember any of these clubs, because they're very famous clubs. But in today's world, what's next? Now he's tearing down, do you hear he may not have the money to finish the ballroom? He destroyed the East Wing. And I'm betting you dollars to donuts he's going to leave it empty for the next administration to handle. I bet you. And he's suing taxpayers. He's suing the IRS. He wants our money. He wants billions of dollars of your money and my money. And now he's going to tear down Kennedy Center for a renovation that Congress is, first he illegally named it, and now he's illegally taking it over to renovate it. But we know the renovation is happening just because no one is booking it. So what's next? What's next? He'll do anything to keep from facing the Epstein files. That's all anybody... Why aren't there congressional hearings? Why aren't they getting the unredacted documents? Why aren't they questioning the people who accuse Donald Trump? And why is the media putting every influential man's name in their headlines except Donald Trump, when his name is in the files more than anyone else's? If something looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. If there's accusations against you from all places, not just the Epstein files, if you've walked into the back of a dressing room of a teenage beauty pageant that you owned, if you were convicted in civil court of sexual offenses, and then your name appears all over the Epstein files, plus you have another friend from wrestling who is a sex trafficker, and you're close with them. What? Have you all ever heard of Occam's razor? All things being easy, or I'm sorry, that's me. All things being the same, being equal, the simplest solution is the right one. That's Occam's razor. All things being equal, the simplest solution is the right solution. So apply Occam's razor to Trump when it comes to whether he's a sexual predator or not. He owns a teenage beauty pageant, which he walked in the back of. He has been convicted in federal court of sexually molesting people. He said during the first campaign that he could grab women by the pussy and that they didn't care and that he would just walk up and do it. He is all over the Epstein files. Epstein went to Mar-a-Lago with Ghislaine Maxwell many, many, many times. So Occam's razor. Okay, all things being equal, what is the simplest solution there? That he is, in fact, a sexual predator who had sex with underage girls at worst, or at best knew it was happening and condoned it and turned away from it or participated in it, or they had nothing to do with it. What is the logical answer to that question? That he did it. And so why every lawmaker isn't screaming from the top of their lungs, Epstein files? I don't know. Democrats are going to go with affordability. That's their message. I would just like a candidate that doesn't fuck children. How about that? Is that too much to ask of politics? I would like a candidate that doesn't steal and rob and commit fraud. Is that too much? And most importantly, I'd like a candidate that actually has read the Constitution and understands it and wants to serve and protect it. Whether it's a Democrat or Republican, is that too much to ask? That they abide by the Constitution of the United States. All right, when we come back, I'll show you this 6-minute video that I did as an homage to the gay bars. I hope you liked it.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
danced because we did. I danced because we could. I danced to show the world. I danced to show the good. I danced to feel you near. I danced to hold you dear. I danced to be the light. I danced to honor nights. So I don't feel the memories. No, I don't sit and cry. Just because the time had come for us to say goodbye. Instead I start to move across the dance floor. It's so wild. As soon my body starts to feel the love I have inside for you.
Wow, there's a couple parts in there where I'm a little out of sync, and I could go back and fix it, but I'm not gonna. So there we have it. I Danced Because, and an homage to all of the great gay bars across the world. Some of them now closed, some still open. Many of you may have recognized some of the names of those clubs. And, gay spaces are needed now more than ever. And I hope in my video I show that how important they were to me. And to me forming a family and forming community. Lorenzo, the African-American person you see, is inspired by Lorenzo. Daniel, Stephen, Andrew, so many others. I am Karel. Be who you want to be, so don't hurt anybody. Dance because they throw dollars at you, honey. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see what horror of the day Trump... Let's hope he doesn't get us into war overnight. Now he's going to threaten tariffs if we don't sell in Greenland. Which ain't for sale. So that's interesting. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Till then, stay safe.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service.